That's right, guys. In this video, we're going to talk about, is there a pump incoming or is there a dump incoming? And I'm going to show you arguments for both sides. We're going to go through them very quickly because at the end of the video is not only my conclusion, but also what I am doing, what an algorithmic trader is doing in such conditions. And I'm making this video as well because there is a lot of uncertainty about where the crypto market is going. A lot of people are afraid and some people are too bullish, in my opinion. And so this video will bring light into the darkness. Okay, we're going to keep it short because your time is valuable. Let's go. And as always, this video is not financial advice. Crypto is risky. You can lose all of your money. But that's why I'm doing this channel, to increase your chances of success. So make sure to watch all of my educational videos. I have a playlist for that. And with all of that in mind, let's continue. Let's start with all the arguments why it is bullish, why it is most likely going to continue to pump. And the first argument is, of course, it is pumping right now. Okay, like the recent couple of days have been showing bullish price momentum on Bitcoin and also on other altcoins like Solana, for example. And we have also seen bullish political news. I'm not a political channel, but I have to keep that in mind because we have Trump having a very high success of winning. And also he is saying stuff that we want to hear, right? He's saying, we want Bitcoin in America.
The future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody. I will end Joe Biden's war on crypto, and we will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in America.
We want to be pro self-custody. We want to have Bitcoin on the US Treasury's balance sheet. We don't want CBDCs. We want Jamie Dimon to be our Treasury Secretary and he shall be pro crypto. Well, let's see about that, right? We have all this bullish news, right? And if Biden actually exits the race, and if the next candidate from the Democrats, which is a lot of ifs, right, is also considered to be pro-crypto, which would make sense because otherwise they would lose a lot of those votes, right? Then it's mega bullish from that point of view. The next thing that is bullish is that we have an Ethereum ETF upcoming, and I have a video about that. You can watch it later on up here. And this is my opinion on what will happen when this ETF actually starts trading, which is next week on the 23rd, most likely. So check that out. That is also bullish, or is it, right? So watch my video. The next thing that we have is that when you look at the DXY and the US 2-year yield, they are crashing, which is good. I mean, they have been recovering in the last couple of days, but overall they are crashing. And that's good because usually when those things crash, then that is good for risk assets, okay? The next bullish argument is that freaking inflation is coming down and everyone is expecting, like literally, everyone is expecting the Fed to cut rates in September, okay? So that is bullish. Well, yeah, short term is bullish, but there is a catch, and that's why this argument will come back in the bearish news as well. So continue watching. Man, that was a lot of bullish news. Does the bearish news have any chance to eclipse that? Well, let's see. On the bearish side, we also have, of course, the political atmosphere. We do have Trump being bullish on crypto. At the same time, he told Jerome Powell to not cut rates, and that can be pretty bad for risk assets, right? So if rates don't get cut in September, like we said before, then there is an issue of expectation versus the reality. And why would Trump not want the rates to be cut? And also keep in mind that Jerome can fully ignore Trump, but still, he said he doesn't want rates to get cut. Why? Maybe because he wants the economy to crash before he takes office so he can then repair it, okay? The easiest way to be a good leader, and trust me, I learned that from being a tech leader myself, is to get into a company or into a situation where everything is screwed and you come in and you fix it. And it's so screwed that anything you do will actually result into it being better than before, right? So if Trump destroys the economy now, then he can fix it later and he will look like the hero. So that is one argument why short term, this might be pretty bearish. The next bearish news is that the S&P 500 is actually crashing right now. And also, don't forget that the whole index is really kept alive by only a couple of companies, and most of them, actually all of them, are fixated on the AI narrative. Okay, so if these companies somehow have earnings issues or anything happen to them, the stock market will crash brutally. Okay, and so that can happen anytime if the consumers don't have enough money to buy their products, and thus, of course, their earnings will crash. So the stock market, especially the tech part of the stock market, which is what is relevant for us as crypto people, right? That is held by a thread. Just a couple of companies make up the performance of the S&P 500 right now. So yes, like I said, it's held up by a thread, and also it is crashing in the last couple of days. So we have to see what next week brings. The next bearish news is that the jobless claims in the US are slightly rising, and that is always happening before a recession. So it's not dramatic, but it's an indicator that we should look at. The next bearish news is simply that there is a conflict between the US and China. Okay?
Chips are going to be subject to a 50% tariff rate starting in 2025, double currently, which is 25% tariff. So what could this mean for the broader escalation of the chip war that's playing out?
And that is a bit of an issue, because if the US puts tariffs on whatever comes from China and China does the same, right, for US goods, then both of them will suffer. And so the economy will suffer, right? And that's what I mentioned before. The S&P 500 tech companies might suffer from that. Some more, some less. But this kind of conflict of two nations that are so big and have such a massive impact on the world economy cannot be ignored. And speaking of China, we have to also add the Taiwan invasion. And today I watched a video where somebody used AI to predict the probability of China invading Taiwan in 2024. And sadly, it's quite high.
We asked 15 questions that were related to events that are going to happen in 2024. And one of the questions was, would China invade Taiwan by the end of the year? Gemini and Grok, both of those predicted that China would in fact invade Taiwan.
And the last part of bearish news is that actually the Fed cutting rates is not bullish. Okay, it is not bullish in the short term, because when the Fed cuts rates, they don't do it because it's funny, they do it because they have to. Okay, they do it because the economy is doing poorly and they have to rescue jobs by rescuing companies that provide those jobs, right? Okay, so short term, if they cut rates, they do it only because something is not going right and there are bad numbers from the economic side, okay? Long term, mid and long term, of course, it is very bullish, but short term, it's not bullish. Meaning that if you buy now and then the Fed cuts rates and it's a sell the news event, you still lose money, okay? So keep that in mind as well. Now to summarize my conclusion and what I am doing to play these markets, okay? With high confidence, of course. What I see and the way that I interpret these two sides, the bullish and the bearish one, is that the bullish news seems to have an impact in the short term, and the bearish news seems to have an impact in the mid to long term. Meaning that in the next couple of weeks or even months, especially after summer when people come back and they trade again, it might be quite bullish actually, but the bearish news is not going away that easily, okay? So we might be very close to a crazy recession and a market dump, okay? But until then, the game of musical chairs is still on, and people like me are trying to still squeeze out the last bit of the bull market that we still have. Okay, that's all great, but what am I doing and how do I play this market? Do I even care about this news? Well, in reality, I do not care at all about this news, okay? Because I am an algorithmic trader. The way I deal with this is simply that I have strategies, as you can see here on the screen, that have performed very well. We're talking about over 2,700% profit on Bitcoin with just 15% max drawdown, with 66% profitable trades and a profit factor of 5.5. And if you are smart, you might ask yourself, does this strategy also work on other coins the same way? Absolutely yes, no changes needed, works on thousands of coins. And I trust this strategy plus the other two that I have to react to what is actually happening in the charts. No matter how crazy the news is and how misleading it might be, I do not care, because I use algorithms to actually follow the trend until the end. Instead of predicting, okay, don't predict, nobody can do it. Instead of predicting where it's gonna go. Okay, sure, it's cool to know all the news and everything, but if I would make my decisions based on the news, I would have been bankrupt long time ago. Okay, because the news is all over the place. And this video proves once more that it's very hard, maybe even impossible, for the normal retail investor to make a decision based on the news alone. Okay, so you have to look at the chart, and the chart is the truth. because that's where the volume and the money is. Okay, so what I do is I use my trading strategies. I have automated them fully. I don't even click the button to buy or sell. It's fully automatic. And I teach how to do that here in my masterclass. It's called Auto Trading Masterclass. If you want to join, click the button to apply for access. Not everyone will get access. You have to go through a very simple but still important application process, which is to talk to me and we discuss. And if you're a good match, cool. If not, you can still consume the content that I have on this YouTube channel, which is already life-changing for most retail investors. I've gotten a lot of positive comments and I'm very proud of the people's lives we have already changed. And also with auto trading, of course, we have massive amount of positive feedback on that as well. So now, if you want to continue your journey on educating yourself, this is the next video that I recommend you watch. Watch this video next, where I show you how to fully automate the trading strategy that is quite good on Bitcoin and Solana. I show you all the steps that you need to take. It is very easy. In the first couple of minutes of that video, I already show you how to do it. And then in the last part of the video, I show you all the details that you need to be aware of to have this setup working for the long term. And I see you in that video. Bye bye.